This is UFO-TV, WJBS Jupiter. This station is licensed under the Historian Broadcast Commission as a Class A broadcaster. We are also licensed by the FCC. Our offices are located in Jupiter, Florida, with transmitters located in the UFO Productions headquarters. We are owned and operated by UFO Industries, which is a company owned by the Historian government. All station programming is taped, aired live, or originates from a television or radio network other than UFO TV. This station's programming is for personal use only and may not be used by any business to generate a profit. If you would like to contact us, please email this address, wjbsufotv@gmail.com. Good morning.
And now the Oddity Archive proudly presents a special presentation. Our production of The Scarlet Letter, the musical, a cappella.
Hester Prynne, you have been found guilty of adultery.
Adultery.
Now you must wear.
Wear the A, wear the A, wear it every single day in the park, in the town.
And welcome to the Oddity Archive, the show that asks such deep, thought-provoking questions as... Here we go again. Way back. Farther than I wish to remember. Okay, it was the first episode. We discussed the Max Headroom incident of 1987. I guess it was inevitable, but now we seem to be contractually obligated, don't know how that happened, to discuss the two other famous cases of broadcast signal hijacking. Today, it's a doubleheader, the 1986 Captain Midnight incident, and taking our first ever trip outside the U.S. for the 1977 UK Vrillin incident. At just after 12:30 a.m. on Sunday, April 27, 1986, understandably frustrated satellite dish salesman/store owner John McDougal was alone working at his second job as an operations engineer at Central Florida Teleport, providing uplinking services to broadcast satellites, particularly to the then soon-to-be defunct pay-per-view service People's Choice. After he'd helmed his final broadcast for the night, he sent his satellite dish back to its resting place, which just so happened to be the proper aim for the East Coast feed of HBO. John had an idea. He was upset that HBO had started scrambling their services earlier that year. Sound familiar?
It may seem like you need 7 different descrambler boxes to get 7 different channels. Well, American Ecstasy realizes that the home dish industry is accepting a standard. The Video Cipher 2 Descrambler.
Because potential dish owners now had to buy a special descrambler box and pay a hefty subscription fee for HBO, his sales had died a sudden and nasty death. As I said, earlier in the year HBO had started scrambling their feed, becoming the first cable network to do so, charging customers an additional $12.95 per month. Let me put this in perspective. $12.95 in 1986, accounting for inflation, amounts to just over $27 in 2012 dollars. There was only one HBO channel at the time, as opposed to the 8 or 9 HBOs today, all in one package no less. Also, factor in that a descrambler box was going to cost at least a couple of $100, and that the cost of a satellite dish was, at the time, around $1,000. Yeah, it was a bad time to be in the satellite business. Getting back on topic here, John was upset. In a split-second decision of anger, he pulled up the color bars and a character generator and started typing. By his own account, he was trying to sound fairly polite, so he opened with a simple "good evening." Then, in an odd turn of bravado, continued, "From Captain Midnight." Well, it was in the midnight hour locally, so I guess that works. $12.95 a month? No way! Showtime and Movie Channel, beware. That last part, according to Captain Midnight anyway, wasn't meant as a threat, but as a warning that consumers might not take kindly to HBO's decision, and that Showtime and the Movie Channel should be worried about their own subscription numbers if HBO's new policy didn't catch on. With that, the newly dubbed Captain Midnight cranked the satellite's power and sent out his message at a higher wattage than HBO, cutting off their broadcast of The Falcon and the Snowman. No big loss. HBO's engineers retaliated by upping their power. Captain Midnight did the same, and so on and so on. This little power war lasted for about a minute and a half before HBO's engineers, fearing damage to their satellites, gave up and returned to their regular power levels, allowing Captain Midnight to broadcast his simple, cryptic message for as long as he desired. After 4.5 minutes, Captain Midnight powered down his satellite, and the movie resumed. Now, this wasn't actually the first time that Captain Midnight struck. A week earlier, perhaps out of anger or curiosity or both, the Captain had overridden HBO's signal for a couple of seconds with just plain old color bars. HBO had dismissed it as a relatively common glitch, and since it occurred late at night with few viewers tuned in, HBO didn't bother to investigate the matter. By his own admission, the Captain was a person who would let his curiosity get the better of him. This led him to discussing the hijacking with coworkers and acquaintances, pretending to simply be curious about what had happened, not to mention that it had happened during his shift. Way to get people suspicious, Cap. It took 3 months and several false leads, but the feds ultimately caught up with Captain Midnight, and felt confident enough to subpoena him. By this point, he'd already lost his engineering job and was losing money on his satellite business. He'd been feeling quite guilty about what he'd done, and despite some initial hesitation, was ready to pay the price and rebuild his life. The Captain opted to plead guilty, saving himself a lengthy, not to mention risky, trial, as well as massively reducing his chances of jail time. On August 26, 1986, just shy of 4 months after the hijacking, Captain Midnight was found guilty of illegal satellite operation, only a misdemeanor at the time, and was sentenced to 1 year of probation and had to pay a $5,000 fine, which was partially paid off by supporters of the Captain's cause. This story has an even happier ending. The satellite industry rebounded after another year or two, and the advent of the mini-dish in the mid-90s has long since proven to be a regular rival to cable. Today, the Captain still runs his store in Ocala, Florida, and we'll be right back.
Hey, this Christmas party is getting a little too quiet. I think it's time we liven it up with my favorite Christmas gift, Mr. Microphone.
Hey, what's that?
Well, you set the dial on your FM radio and testing.
Hey, I'm on the radio!
These kids are having a fabulous time with Mr. Microphone, the cordless microphone that actually puts your voice on the radio. There are no attaching wires, so you're free to move around. Broadcast over any FM car radio.
Hey, good looking. We'll be back to pick you up later.
Professional entertainers use Mr. Microphone for rehearsing. It's practical and great fun for the whole family. And it's only $14.88. Mr. Microphone, buy 2 or 3, they really make great Christmas gifts.
All your weapons of evil must be removed. The time for conflict is now past, and the race of which you are a part may proceed to the higher stages of its evolution, if you show yourselves worthy to do this.
Did you know aliens have tried to contact us many, many times? British-sounding aliens that sounded like they've seen too many sci-fi movies. Well, back on Saturday, November 26, 1977 at 5:10 p.m. local time, the aliens got pissed. For years, if not centuries, the Ashtar Galactic Command had been trying to contact the government, though we're not sure which one. Possibly all of them. Anyway, they knew it was time to make their presence known to the general public. Now, due to budget restraints, the aliens could only afford to hijack the signal of England's Southern Television during the evening news. But believe me, had they had the budget, you could bet that they'd have hijacked every single TV and radio frequency in the world, with their message translated into every conceivable language, with every radio and TV turning itself on for the occasion. But you know, times were tight and they had to make do with what they got. So, anyway, what was this message? Well, believe it or not, today we've got an amazing treat for you. We've got the original man being itself. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Vrillin. And now it's time for Poetry Corner. Reading today's poem is Vrillin of the Ashtar Galactic Command.
For many years you have seen us as lights in the skies. We speak to you now in peace and wisdom as we have done to your brothers and sisters all over this, your planet Earth. We come to warn you of the destiny of your race and your world so that you may communicate to your fellow beings the course you must take to avoid the disasters which threaten your world and the beings on our worlds around you. This is in order that you may share in the Great Awakening as the planet passes into the new age of Aquarius. The new age can be a time of great peace and evolution for your race, but only if your rulers are made aware of the evil forces that can overshadow their judgment.
This has been Poetry Corner.
I wasn't finished yet. If I had the budget, I'd vaporize you.
Okay, I think I've made my point here. Yes, the Southern Television News was indeed interrupted audio only by someone claiming to be an alien that paraphrased Darth Vader's speeches and warned Earth people of their imminent demise if the use of nuclear energy isn't ceased immediately. If they were such superior beings and all, why didn't they stop us? Why didn't they follow through in some regard? Why didn't they offer an alternative to nuclear energy and our other evil ways, like all weapons, great and small? Why didn't they hijack more than just a single TV channel, audio only, in mostly rural southern England? They didn't even go for London? I guess they were just looking for a bit of that famous English hospitality that the big city just couldn't provide. To put it flatly, this was a hoax. Probably some broadcasting or science students looking for attention. And I'm not even going to go into whether or not I think they actually believed their own politics, because it doesn't matter. Now, like the later Max Headroom incident, these folks evidently knew that their signal could be traced after a while, so they kept their transmission relatively brief. This was the first documented case of illegal broadcast signal hijacking. It provided proof of concept to wannabe signal pirates all over the world that the relatively average person could bust into a broadcast if they really wanted to. On the other side of the coin, it prodded broadcasters and law enforcement officials to start tightening their control over the airwaves, which continues to this day. Now, even though it hasn't happened yet in the digital era, something like the Vrillin incident set the precedent, and for that reason it's very significant. Plus, I don't foresee this little game of electronic one-upsmanship ending anytime soon. Well, that's it for today's archive. Join us next time when we further discuss the fine art of signal jamming.
Well, jamming, I wanna jam it with you. We're jamming, jamming, and I hope you like jamming too. No bullet can stop us now when
your mark, get set. We're riding on the internet, cyberspace, set free. Hello, virtual reality.
Interactive appetite, searching for a website, a window to the world, got to get online.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
Hey there, it's us again. This is my brother Peter, Mom and Dad, and I'm Dasha. Today, we're going to be showing our friends Andrew and Lisa the basics of the internet, and we thought you might want to come along.
It'll be cool.
Now here's a little background. When we installed internet access on our computer, I got the whole family involved.
It's true. Everybody had their own tasks to do.
It was a lot of work, but it was really worth it.
Now that I've gotten on the internet, I'd rather be on my computer than doing just about anything.
It's really cool.
The internet gave us a whole world of exciting new possibilities. So I guess this is a story of how it changed our lives. Maybe it will yours too, with the Kid's Guide to the Internet.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
As Rich told you, we installed the internet on our computer just a short time ago, and I haven't been able to get the kids off it ever since.
Not only do they play the typical computer games that all the kids enjoy, but their curiosity for learning has skyrocketed. Peter is constantly quoting sports statistics, and he can tell you the best surfing spots around the globe.
Not to mention the improvement in Peter's grades, and Dasha's too. Having the internet in our home has had a great impact on our lives. Rich keeps up with the stock market and our investments, and I'm able to pay the bills in half the time it used to take me. And the kids are improving in their grades and communication skills.
Which makes me happy, as I would sure like them to go to college someday.
Don't worry though, it's still cool. The program is by kids for kids, and it's not just for boys either.
You'll learn how the net can entertain you and take you to far-off locations and meet new people.
And at the end of the tape, I'll be back to tell you how to safeguard your computer so that you can reduce your concerns about the kinds of websites your children can visit. You never can be too careful.
And to help out if requested, though I doubt she'll be asked.
So let's get underway.
Yeah.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
So, what's everyone up to today?
Well, Linda Emerson called and she asked if Dasha and Peter could help Andrew and Lisa learn about the internet. She's trying to get Bud to get the internet at home.
Okay, now don't forget to keep it simple for your pals, you two. You guys have learned an awful lot, even though you've only been online a couple of weeks.
That's the great part, Dad. It's so easy to learn and so much fun to play on.
Yeah, Dad. Peter doesn't even have to help me anymore. I did my report on the Mississippi River all by myself.
Hey, you know how to spell Mississippi with one I? M-I-S-S-I-S-S-I-P-P-I. You know, I've been able to read some of my favorite cooking magazines online. I've even gotten some great gardening tips, too.
No wonder you guys are always so busy on the computer.
You're going surfing on the internet.
Come on in. Hi, guys. Dad's just leaving, and Mom said we can have the computer all to ourselves.
Hey, Andrew, what's up?
Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Jameson. My mom wanted me to ask you guys to call her. She wants you to tell her more about the internet and why you like it.
Yeah, and you've got to tell her that we really need it for our homework. But don't tell her about the games and stuff.
Even though we know that's what you really want it for.
I'll tell you what, I'll call her. Now, you make sure Dasha and Peter show you how they've done some of their school reports and not all that cybernet stuff, okay?
See you later, kids. I'll be home early.
Bye.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
Okay, guys, the first thing that you need to know is that the internet is amazing, and it's changing every day. Once you've learned how to get online yourselves, you'll start seeing web pages everywhere. TV shows have them, schools, Disney World, even the White House.
What's a web page? Something ducks walk on?
Ha ha, very funny. No, it's the name of the different sites you can look up on the internet.
Hold on, sis. Let's start at the beginning like Dad did with us. So Andrew and Lisa will be able to persuade their parents about the internet with some important facts.
Good idea, Peter, but where do we start?
Let's start with the basics first. There are 3 important services you can access on the internet. Surfing the World Wide Web.
Surfing? That sounds pretty cool already.
Andrew, don't interrupt. Go on, Peter.
Then there are news groups to share information with people, and then there's email.
Email? I heard that's really neat. My cousin has a pen pal in Sweden, and they write back and forth, and it transmits right away and doesn't cost anything.
Yeah, you can even talk with people all over the world on chat lines.
Don't they have chess games and stuff like that, too?
Yup, they got more stuff than you can imagine.
So, where should we start?
Let's start with web pages. So first you need to know that everything on the internet has an address, and all web addresses start with http://. Then to access the World Wide Web, you type in www.
And the next thing you'll type will be specific, directing you to a particular website, like MTV. Or you can just surf the net using a search engine to help you locate information on any topic you can think of.
For instance, I used the World Wide Web to search the archives of the Smithsonian Museum a few weeks ago. I also had to do a homework assignment about the Wright brothers for a history assignment.
Can you show us what you found?
Sure.
Wow, is that the first plane the Wright brothers flew?
Yup, they called her the Kitty Hawk.
So that means we could visit most any museum in the world without even leaving home?
Not just museums, you can go anywhere on the net and access resources from around the corner or to the most remote regions of the world.
Now that's amazing.
So where else can we go?
Want to write a letter to President Clinton?
Would he answer us?
I bet he would.
Let's tell him how much we love the internet and that he should try to get more computers for our schools.
But how do we even look up the White House?
You type www.whitehouse.gov.
It looks just like it does in our history books, only it seems more real, like we're there.
Is this like sending email?
It is sending email.
Dear Mr. President, my name is Peter and my sister is Dasha. Our friends Lisa and Andrew came over today. Sincerely, Andrew, Lisa, Peter, and Dasha.
Wow, that's really neat, but how can we get the internet on our computer at home?
You're going surfing on the internet.
Remember how Dad said we should start with the basics first?
That's true. Well, to get started, you'll need to get connected to the internet. You do that through an internet service provider.
An internet service provider? What's that?
It's a service that connects you to the internet through special super high-speed lines. Your parents or teachers can help you figure this out for you.
The easiest way is to use an online service provider. They give you free disks to install, and it only takes a few minutes until you're online.
And we can do it ourselves?
Yeah. You'll be led through a series of screens for the installation of the software. They make it simple, and they even have a helpline if you get stuck.
You'll need to type in your name, address, and credit card information. Be sure to ask your folks for permission to use it.
But the one thing we learned is that if your computer is having other problems, make sure you get them fixed first. Otherwise, if you're having problems when you're installing your internet disk, you won't know where they're coming from.
So we install the disk and we could go online immediately.
Does your computer have a modem?
I think so. My grandpa bought it for us. It has all the latest high-tech stuff.
It sounds like it should be pretty easy for you then. But you might get your folks to help just to make sure everything's working okay.
Yeah, because I remember when Dad installed ours, he backed up all of our computer data so that if there was a problem, it wouldn't get lost. And then there was something about fragments or something?
That's right. Dad had to defragment the disk too. I'm not really sure what that is, so you better get an adult to help you with it.
You're going surfing on the internet.
Well, now it's time to get online through our internet service provider. Here we go. To get online, we need to type in our password. Since your internet service provider is like your own post office box, you need to access it with your own private code. Now we need to open our browser.
What's a browser?
It's an application that allows you to access all of the different information on the internet.
Microsoft Internet Explorer came with our computer, but you can download it by typing www.microsoft.com.
Or you can download the other popular browser, Netscape Navigator, at www.netscape.com.
Okay, so tell us, what does download mean?
That's simple. It means to transfer a file of information from a main computer or server to your computer. So once you have loaded your browser or already have it on your computer, you'll open it and it will give you a selection of search engines.
What do search engines do?
They search the net looking for the information you requested.
Cool. So that's how you get connected to the internet. And the search engines will show us all the millions of pages of websites and chat lines and games and everything?
It's all right here at your fingertips.
How do we decide which search engine to use?
They all have similar information, but they organize it differently. Everyone has their favorite, right, Peter?
Yup. The search engines identify different categories and topics. When you decide what you're interested in, you click on the topic from the menu, or type in a specific web address or word to identify a particular topic. Then the search engine links you to your selection.
Yahoo, I've heard of that. So it's a search engine, right? Can we look at it?
Sure, we just click on it and the next thing you know, we'll be surfing the net.
Wow, look at all the choices.
Let's look at Yahooligans for Kids.
Okay, so where would you like to go now?
Surfing the net.
Okay, first we need to select a topic from the menu. Where would you like to go?
Let's check out astronomy.
That's easy. What's next?
I need to do a school project on ancient Egypt. Would they have anything on it under countries?
Let's see. First we check around the world. Next, countries, and there it is, Egypt.
Amazing. They have everything I need. Look, you can even write your name in hieroglyphics. Can we try it?
L-I-S-A, right?
Right.
Okay.
Can we do something fun? Maybe play a game?
Well, let's bookmark the page so we can find it real easily. Let's go back to the Yahooligans homepage and find a game.
They sure have a lot of them.
Too bad we don't have time to play them.
You're right, Dasha, but the tour was awesome. I can't believe how easy it is to surf the net. So let's review a few of the concepts we've been working on, just to make sure I understand them. First, we need to get an ISP, or Internet Service Provider. It connects you to the net through high-speed lines. Then, I download or install a browser that allows me to view all information on the net in my computer.
Right so far?
Then I open my browser to a choice of search engines that look up menus of almost anything I can think of, whether it's my project on Egypt or Andrew playing games.
It sounds complicated, but really it all happens behind the scenes, so it's easy for you. And you're right, you can find anything from planning a vacation to MTV or real-time live audio. The net is fabulous.
What are web addresses?
All websites have addresses, even the ones we just looked at. So if you know the address of the site and you want to go directly to it, you just type in the address.
The web addresses follow a simple format.
As I mentioned before, they all start with HTTP as the beginning of their address. Then additional information helps the browser locate the address you've selected.
For instance, the other day we typed in the address for Cape Canaveral.
But where did you get that?
We just figured it out. Look, I'll show you.
A lot of addresses are easy to guess. If they're very well-known places, they probably just use their name. And then you only need the last identifier. The typical abbreviations go like this: .com for commercial, .gov for government, and .org for organization.
I can't believe how easy it is to get onto the internet. When you hear my parents talking about it, it sounds like it'd be so hard.
I told you it was cool.
You're going surfing on the internet.
I saw something about news and current events online. Can you look up newspapers too? We always have a social studies test on current events.
Yup, the internet has news lines that give you up-to-the-minute information from the Los Angeles Times, CNN, the New York Times, and the Wall Street Journal.
And again, you should bookmark these locations in your browser so that you can go to them really quickly, like we did before.
Hey Andrew, what about that report you have to do in science class about light and what makes colors?
Oh, I was trying to forget about that. But I think it will be fun to look it up on the net.
I just type in light and color and see what we get.
At least you don't have to study the anatomy of a frog like we do. Can we look up my frog too? I can get a head start on my homework.
I'm so glad we don't have to dissect them like they did in the old days. Whoa, how'd you do that? Show me so I can come back to it later.
Lisa, either we're gonna have to get Dad to install the internet right away, or have Mom take us to the library to use it.
And I'm sure Mom will talk Dad into it, since she hates chauffeuring us everywhere.
And there's so much more you can do.
Hey gang, here's a cool site you want to check the next time you go into the movies. They have hundreds of movie reviews and it's free too.
And you can also check out the latest on TV.
Nick at Night, cool.
I'm going to a warrior if I gotta swim all the way. Aloha, Wilbur. Look, no hand. This is a lie.
It's all starting to make sense. You just typed nickatnight.com.
Hey, you said you'd show me the MTV website. Would that just be mtv.com?
Yep.
Someone said you could order concert tickets over the web. Is that true?
Sure. My mom ordered tickets from the net to take me to the Russian ballet for my birthday.
And here's another neat thing you can download off the net. Free screensavers.
Really? Show me how to do that. I hate the ones we have at school. But speaking of parents, our mom is going to be here in a few minutes to pick us up.
Well, quick, before you go, this is one your dad will love. It's sports news, and they have all the latest stats and scores. My dad usually looks up www.sportsnetwork.com.
Lisa, that would be a good one to show Dad. Then maybe he'll get us the internet at home.
And that's not the only site with sports information. There are tons of them.
But let's say I want to use email.
You know, email is still the #1 use of the internet. It's easy to set up the email program provided with your online software.
And it's really easy to use, too. You just type in the name of the person you're sending it to and your message. What could be simpler?
And here are some places you can get free email. www.juno.com and www.mailzone.com.
What about if I want to do my own homepage?
Now that's a big project. You'd better get someone to help you.
But you can get a head start at www.cnet.com, Central Hands PageMail.html.
Hey guys, Andrew and Lisa's mom's gonna be honking any minute. Better pack up your stuff.
Thanks, Mrs. Jameson.
Oh, you're welcome, Andrew. So, did you learn anything important today?
Are you kidding? I can't go another day without the internet. Peter showed me how to look up all the information I need on my school project about Egypt.
Great.
We looked up school stuff and MTV. It was really cool.
Well, good. I'm glad you got some of the important stuff done before you went to the games on MTV, Dasha.
We did, Mom. We looked all over Egypt, Cape Canaveral, dissecting virtual frogs. We've been very busy.
Well, I'm sure your folks will get it for you soon enough. I know we just love it. The kids are on it all the time between their homework and games, and I use it for new recipes and gardening tips. And Mr. Jameson gets up-to-the-minute stock reports, and I could go on and on. But you better get going before your mom wonders what you're doing.
That was definitely cool. Thanks, dude.
Absolutely. See you on the net.
Call me the minute you get an email address.
Okay.
And Andrew, we can play interactive games on the net together.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
You're going surfing on the internet.
As a parent, I've never been happier than when my children ask their friends over for an internet computer party. I'd like to add a word about safety, though. You have to remember the internet is not a regulated environment, so the quality and accuracy of various informational offerings can differ quite a bit. There may even be a concern if your children should access some of them. So, go online with them on the net. Or set your Microsoft Internet Explorer browser to only accept G-rated sites.
Well, how did our kids do as cyber teachers?
Oh, they were big stars, of course. Oh, but honey, did you know you could dissect a virtual frog on the internet? Ooh. Oh, did you get those Rolling Stone concert tickets? And the whole family can go, right? I mean, you can buy tickets online.
I don't know. What do you think, kids?
Yeah.
Surf's up. See you on the net.
On your mark, get set. We're riding on the internet, cyberspace, set free. Hello, virtual reality.
Interactive appetite, searching for a website, a window to the world, got to get online.
Take a spin, now you're in with the techno set. You're going surfing on the internet.
I was a train buff as a kid, and I still am. I find that, to me, it's not a job. I enjoy what I do, and the fact that there's different types of equipment that you have, something different to look forward to each day. And for me, I feel this is the greatest show on earth, and I'm getting paid for it. See? Each car is powered by four traction motors, electric motors, and it draws 600 volts from the third rail. On the R46, the power and brake is all in one handle. So when you position the controller and your head cam, all cars respond. The actual time from Far Rockaway to the 7th Street is an hour and 30 minutes. As you gain experience, you're able, and you get to know the particular train you're operating, you can generally keep that schedule all that time.
The conductor's main responsibility is the safety of the passengers, transporting them from one terminal to the other, whatever destination that they choose. You answer questions, give information. He observes the platform. The doors are left open 10 seconds per station compared to the load. If there are more than a lot amount of people on there, naturally it's going to take more than 10 seconds. I enjoy communicating with people. Perhaps that's why I've stayed a conductor in the first place.
Hello, 710A out of Far Rock. Coming for command, please.
Yes, 710. We've got your leader laying down at Kingston and Troop Avenue.
We're going to reroute you through the local at East New York. Okay, command. 710A out.
Trains are not like buses. They're on tracks. Once one train stops, we might have as many as 10 trains stuck behind that one train. So we try to set up this system where instant communication with the train with trouble will help us stop the number of trains that are caught behind it. We can't always help the train that's in trouble. Hello, 710A out of Far Rock. Come in for command, please. Yes, Motorman, put me in for a PA announcement to your passengers. The command center is the communications. It's the heart of the railroad. From the command center, we can communicate with every train in the system, as well as towers, train dispatchers, assistant train dispatchers out on the road. This is the New York City Transit Authority Command Center. We're sorry for the inconvenience. We have a delay of a train in
front of you with stuck brakes. You will be routed via the local track. Thank you for your cooperation. Sorry for the inconvenience.
Hello, East New York, coming for command. East New York, we've got an express train laying down at Kingston and Troop.
We reroute all your expresses via the local.
Okay, command, we'll begin rerouting the expresses up the local.
At any terminal or gas station in the system, they have what's called communication setups, whereby however the trains are running, they can let the other guy at the other end know. We have what's called holding lights, and these lights are turned on in most cases so that the trains can stop to meet with other trains that may be coming in on the same schedule. These holding lights may be there so that the conductor should not close down because there may be a situation ahead of him. Hello, East New York Tower. We have a train laying down at Kingston and Troop. Reroute all expresses via the local to Manhattan, please.
East New York Tower, A train going to the local track. Everybody thinks that the subway's automated. They don't think that all the stuff is done mechanically or by hand. They think that all the towers are automatically operated, but we don't have any automatic towers.
Department is required to supply 4,980 cars for service every day to the transportation section. We have two major repair facilities. These facilities take care of any major overhauls that have to be done to either the car itself as a whole, whether it's body or components. When these cars leave the paint room or get washed, they look new. And we've documented that the average car lasts about a week before it's painted up again. 1 week.
System operation parameter. You want power off A3 from the power department's responsibility is to provide power for traction. We buy our AC and we rectify it. Our responsibility is to keep the rail alive at all times, but to be ready to remove power whenever necessary for either safety or general work.
Maintenance away, that's the track, signal, third rail, telephones, the ventilation and drainage, and the radio communication. Each 39-foot rail uses 8 pair of rail tongs, and each rail tong uses 2 men. So it's 16 men to handle 39-foot rail. Because of the clearance envelopes that we have in the system, there aren't too much equipment that is available on the market that we can employ in the tunnel. If you were to take all the rails that we put in 1 year and lay them end to end, they would equal 86 miles. We have 706 miles of mainline tracks.
59th Street at Columbus Circle. Change for the AA local, the D6 Avenue West End line, and the number 1 Broadway line on the upper left. Have a nice day.
3,300,000 is a pretty accurate average of daily ridership, daily, about half that much on weekends. Station Apartments is one of the 5 operating departments within the authority. The initial contact is made usually with the railroad clerk for selling or buying or purchasing of tokens, assisting passengers, and seeking information, guidance, because you can get a little messed up in the system.
The volume of say, crime, I guess on a scale of the amount of people that ride is relatively small. But then again, I wouldn't want to be the person that's the statistic. It's not a crime-free subway system. I don't think any place, you know, in the city is crime-free.
Basically, if you're a strap hanger and you know nothing about the system, I would definitely stand on that platform and curse all day. But if you're somebody that works within the system, to be honest with you, I'm amazed that we make the service that we do with the problems we have.
Sewing with Benny will not be seen at this time, so that we may bring you a show that is truly a stitch. Welcome to the Oddity Archive, the show that's never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you. Oh, yes, I just did. Local TV is truly a lost art. This used to be the place where almost any schmuck could get his 15 minutes. It was so pervasive in American culture at one point that you had shows like SCTV and Fernwood Tonight whose sole existence was to mock the nature of local television. These days, I think every idiot with a webcam is unwittingly carrying on the tradition. This being one of those shows, well, I want to get back to our roots, man. For decades, it seemed like every market had their own kiddie clown show. Growing up, my local clown's name was Blinky, and he had a show called Blinky's Fun Club, which in reality wasn't all that much fun. Like any good level-headed kid, Blinky scared the living bejesus out of me. However, in retrospect, like any good level-headed adult, he doesn't seem quite as scary now. He was, like most of these hosts, not particularly funny, even by elementary school-age standards. Conversely, he was unlike most clowns in that he was continually extolling the virtues of family values and tolerance. Still didn't make it funny, though.
Good morning to... Why didn't you tell me?
I did.
You didn't.
I tried.
Didn't.
You don't...
Didn't tell me. You didn't tell me. You were just like, good morning to you. Good morning to you. Good morning, dear children. Good morning to you.
I'm sure the viewers of the Rocky Mountain region are still absolutely heartbroken at the fact that I declined an invitation to sit in on a taping of Blinky's back in 1992. I stand by my decision. One last thought. Blinky had an antique shop on South Broadway in Denver for years. I went there one day circa 2005, bought some sheet music from the man himself, and walked right out the door without realizing who he was. I was soon informed of who he was, and ambulances had to be called to the scene. It wasn't pretty. Oh, and did I mention the place was called Blinky's Antiques?
No!
You know, I'm feeling good and nostalgic now. Why don't we watch a little bit of this? I don't remember this. Oh, I just realized it's the puppet that's supposed to be singing. With their treasures. I don't remember this.
Danny didn't make it today. 4 years old. Bless his heart.
Okay, I remember this. This is it.
Get your smiles ready.
Mom said we had to wave or we don't get any presents.
Happy birthday to you.
Birthday? Oh, I forgot he had a speech impediment.
Happy birthday.
You know, this is exactly why I refuse to appear on the show. You know what? I'm still deathly afraid of this guy. Now, a lot of people may not realize that something like Bozo the Clown was actually a franchise. I mean, there were multiple Bozos throughout the country. But a lot of markets simply couldn't afford something like that, so they just had to come up with their own show. And that's how you wound up with stuff like Ho-Ho the Clown. High noon. Hey, get the dog off the set! Get that damn dog off the set!
Where'd it go? It's right over there. You better come and get this ball. Come on, get the ball.
Huh?
Okay, and where do you go with it? Right in the doghouse. In the doghouse. There she goes. See the
Stupid
lights
human.
Sure does. Every day, 12 o'clock. Every day, 12 o'clock. Runs out.
Well, he dresses up his socks and talks to them. That's a good indicator of his mental health.
And we'd like to have you join lunch with us.
He does know the camera's on, right?
Bring your lunch sometime?
I sure will.
Okay, and it's
Get on with that.
At 12 o'clock.
12 o'clock.
Every day.
Every day.
Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock. We'd like to invite you to have lunch with Ho-Ho.
Right.
We'll have an apple.
Love them.
Manic depression is fun. Some cookies,
Self-abuse,
lots
fun,
of cartoons,
fun.
and some days even a pie.
Back the tears.
Local TV brought us all those wonderful horror movie hosts. You know, the ones who knew the movies were absolute crap. I mean, you got Vampira, and Ghoulardi.
Ghoulardi plays nothing but poker. See, what you do in poker, you get a girl, and you poke her.
And...
Hello, darling. It's me,
well, I think we all know who she is. And you got Sven Gulli. You know, let's talk Sven for a moment here. We'll go on a Sven streak. Take a trip to Sven 11. Suffer a case of Sven stroke. Sven Gulli started as Screaming Yellow Theater in the early 70s. He was replaced by the son of Sven Gulli, played by Rich Koz, who was one of the original Screaming Yellow writers, though he ultimately dropped the son of Sobriquet after Sven Sr. gave his blessing. This guy is great. He's smart, funny, versatile, and the movies he showed tended to not suck as much as the other hosts. He also managed to put Berwyn, Illinois on the map. Sorry, couldn't resist. Let's watch a little.
Midnight and my show's a nightlight and I'm canceled.
Canceled? You can't cancel this. This is the first good show I've seen on this freaking episode. This is bullshit. All right, let's see what else we can find. Oh God. All right, believe it or not, this guy calls himself Count Scary.
Let's go, Count!
Yeah, I'm scared, all right. Scared at how stupid this is. Where's my wooden stake? Shit.
Let's go, Count!
I guess the remote will just have to do.
A drop of water could do you in.
I'm trying to way too hard.
Oh, girls always talk so much, and when their windpipes are broken, the vocal cords squash.
Alright, this guy calls himself Sammy Terry, and for the life of me, I don't know why.
George,
Echo, I can't understand a word you say. Sammy Terry. Sammy Terry. Cemetery. Oh, that's lame. We'll be right back.
Hello there, we're the Vibrations featuring Sandy Lee on vocals. Day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, these things I pray.
Enjoy the stirring sounds of the Vibrations nightly at the Imperial House Motel, Glendale Milford Road at I-75.
Now, in case you didn't figure it out, Sven Gulli was from suburban Chicago. Segue. The city of Chicago has a truly rich history of local television, running the gamut from pioneering children's shows to Oprah frickin' Winfrey herself. Yeah, him too. If we were a better show, we'd talk about those, but, well, where's the fun in that? So what do we got here? Okay, I can see this, like an American Bandstand for kids. That makes sense. Same hot dance steps. Soul Train, this is not.
Hey kids, it's time to play the Mo Queen's Kitty a Go.
Time to play. Is this a game show? I thought this was American Bandstand Junior. New John Wayne Bobbits from Mickleberries. Plump, juicy, and completely detached.
And they're delicious.
And with Mickleberry as the cleaver.
And now here she is, the girl who makes the scene every week on Kitty a Go-Go, Pandora!
Oh! Okay. I get it. Pandora's box. I'm no mythology expert or anything, but doesn't she know that Pandora's box is full of evil spirits?
Oh, wonderful, because once again...
Oh, never mind. I think she knew.
The Popeye, the Jerk, and all your favorites just...
Yup. You know, I know this was 1969 and all, but a mic around the neck? How about a boom, cheapskate?
Go. We're having the new Colony Sibs.
Hey, you're not Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Oh, we're going to have a lot of fun here on Kitty.
You know, I like the new Colony 6 and all, but this just might not be worth it.
Important message for you from our good friend, Mickey the Rooster.
Okay, I'm out of here. Oh, right, I should be dancing. Alert the media, she can play a 12-bar blues. Oh, hi, camera. Okay, I'm calling bullshit on this one. She's playing piano all right, but that band is just a tape. Okay, who keeps throwing that toy piano down the stairs? Ginny Chew. 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 Okay. Hey, this isn't the Mike Douglas show. I get the title. Complete with a real fake edit.
Any time is right time.
Looks more like 12:56 to me.
That writes with the greatest of ease, not in order.
Used in the finer bus and train station restrooms throughout the Chicagoland area.
Slim, trim.
Ah, the godless pens are attacking!
Writes fine, medium, or bold. Don't just ask for.
Oh, it's nice to know that things were so much cheaper back then.
9 cents everywhere. There is a world of difference. By Pentel, makers of the famous Sign Pen.
Only to be used on notarized documents. Cut. Cut!
The Fisher Space Pen. It writes in space.
You don't say.
Fisher Space Pen, actually used by...
Hey, it's the Kitty A-Go-Go lady again. And she's still creepy.
Continuously at any angle.
I am not reading this from a cue card.
Cartridge, pressurized by nitrogen gas, gives a positive ink feed to the ball, enabling the ink to flow uniformly without skipping, no matter how...
In other words, it's a normal ballpoint pen.
Fisher Space Pens.
Does this show have a pen fetish?
Pens, and they write over grease, over fingerprints, and underwater.
And it writes through lipped cream.
Engineered for astronauts, styled for executives. The Fisher Space...
Help! I'm being held hostage!
McLennan's, located at 220 South State, has the world's largest inventory of pens and pencils.
Pens! What is it with this show and pens?
All makes of pens, pencils, and refills. McLennan's has also been servicing schools for...
By force.
With prints of the school emblem on either pens or pencils. Serving you in the writing instrument of your choice is McLennan's greatest pleasure. If it writes, you can be sure the place to look for it is at McLennan's, 220 South State.
McLennan's, run out of business by the typewriter.
And once again, Miss Ginny, too.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. It's really great to be here with all of you. And thank you, Mr. Sullivan. Especially
Ed's not here, man.
Now everybody knows I'm an old lady.
I don't get
I'd like
it.
to introduce you to my family, and since it is an Oriental custom that men go first, I'm going to have you meet my brother Alex on the drums. And then my sister Vicky.
Hey, she stole that guitar from the Shags.
And we mustn't forget Twiggy at the bass.
I thought Twiggy was blonde and tall.
And I'm Ginny, too.
Oh, I didn't know there was more than one. Hey, instant double track. How convenient. This is the entire show, folks. No guests, no interviews, no sketches, no nothing. Next! that John Candy was one badass mother of an accordion player.
You are
no bassist, just like the Doors, man.
You are my...
Oh, crap. How to use the zoom on this thing again? Oh, to hell with it.
Don't you leave me, baby down. Don't you leave me, my baby down. Don't Freebird! My baby down. You're my sweetheart now. Here we go.
Go where? To hell? Because I think we're already there.
Polka.
How much you want to bet these guys are playing this very tune right now at the Holiday Inn in Berwyn? Would it kill you to have a soloist? This is boring. Well, you know, when you think about it, it's got kind of the right groove. It's a shame Johnny Cash never got around to covering this one.
Let's all sing along at home.
But I forget the words.
You are my baby doll.
You're my little darling.
You're my baby doll.
You're my Cupid doll.
You are my
baby doll. Why can't I remember that?
Now here we go.
Dance, damn you, dance.
Baby doll.
Dance, damn it. Okay, I can't take this anymore. Next.
To the kids here from Northwestern University, okay? Let's dance.
Again? No! Oh, God. Actually, these guys aren't bad. A good strong bass. I mean, to actually have a bass this time. Good tight playing. You know, if you look at that drummer real close, I swear that is Jimmy Chamberlin from the Smashing Pumpkins. Oh, yes it is. That is Jimmy Chamberlin from the friggin' Smashing Pumpkins. This doesn't seem so bad after all. You know, now that I think about it, alternative rock and polka really aren't all that incompatible. You know who would have made a good polka band? 9 Inch Nails. Hit it, Trent! Oh, well, that does it for today's show. I guess there's nothing left to do except wish love, peace, and soul.
Here's a look at tonight's pay-per-view schedule. We're bringing it home for you.
And welcome to the Oddity Archive, the show that keeps your nostalgia bubble from getting burst by showing only bits of promotional materials and compulsively avoiding substantial discussion. It's a living. Well, not really, but anyway. A while back, I was rifling through some thrift store bin, as I am wont to do, and I stumbled upon a bunch of laser discs to be aired over the now defunct Sneak Preview Pay-Per-View Barker channel, which aired over many, if not most, American cable TV systems at some point or other. And I bought them, brought them home, took a picture, and posted it to the Facebook and Twitter pages. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting much of a response. Boy, was I wrong. This drew the most response out of just about anything I've ever posted to those pages. So, not being one to let a bit of audience interest go to waste, I guess we're about due for a look back at the Preview Channel. My family first got cable TV in early 1992. Like any other well-adjusted kid, this meant Nickelodeon. But of course, no channel scores 100% watchability all the time, meaning that some exploration was bound to happen eventually. I remember the, as it was known, preview guide being something of a point of comfort, or at least something to drain my excess brain cells to when nothing else was on. I remember seeing constant, repetitive ads for whatever not quite hit but not quite box office bomb that the studios were trying to squeeze that last million or two out of. This meant an early drilling of stuff as disparate as Straight Talk, Ernest Scared Stupid, and V.I. Warshawski into my then still quite malleable skull. To date, I've only ever seen the Ernest movie. You know, maybe these things weren't so effective after all. In 1981, the United Video Satellite Group began selling what was generically known as the Electronic Program Guide, or EPG, to individual cable companies. This was software that could generate a moving TV guide of sorts. By 1985, the EPG had solidified into two potential systems. One was the EPG, or Electronic Program Guide Junior, which ran via a 16 kilobit EPROM, or Erasable Programmable Read-Only Memory chip, usually used in something like an Atari 130XE computer. The other type was the EPG Senior, which ran via a 3.5-inch bootable diskette for use with the Amiga 1000 computer. This footage, already sampled back on the teletext episode, remains the earliest footage I've found of the Electronic Program Guide. This footage is from suburban Chicago back in October of 1987. Admittedly, this is probably my favorite version of this type of channel, if only to feed my inner music snob. Some people are made for each
Some people can love one another for life. How about us?
Anyway, by 1988, the constant expansion, physically and otherwise, for most, if not all, American cable systems had reached a point where a revision to the electronic program guide was in order. Tracker Incorporated, as owned by United Video, was redubbed Preview Networks Incorporated, and the Preview Guide was launched. For this, the EPG Senior software was upgraded for the Amiga 2000, turning the old familiar full-screen guides into a split-screen format. This was to allow usually promotional video to run. Said video, of which there were two options usually available, was piped in via C-band satellite. Unsurprisingly, this made the semi-frequent crashes that the Preview Guide software was known for a rather interesting experience. In 1991, Preview Networks launched the pay-per-view-centric Sneak Preview. Unlike the main Preview Guide channel, the promo clips were pulled from laserdiscs that were periodically sent to cable providers and changed out once a week. Providers also had the option of running from special generic discs using a static split screen that they could provide their own text to. In 1993, Preview Networks once again revamped their software, still on the Amiga, for what that's worth, and rebranded their main channel as the Preview Channel. In the wake of this, such additions as near-constant made-to-order segments and, eventually, weather segments were made. In 1996, Preview introduced the Preview Interactive Guide, the only evidence of which I can find is via this YouTube camcorder recording of a tutorial videotape. In 1998, News Corporation, which owned TV Guide, sold off TV Guide to Preview Networks. Come February 1st, 1999, the Preview channel was redubbed the TV Guide channel, complete with new segments bearing the TV Guide name. That October, Gemstar International, home of VCR Plus, bought out Preview Networks. Over the next few months, the old Amiga operating system was phased out and replaced with custom Windows NT computers, alas, rendering the crashes, on-screen maintenance, and other amusing technical glitches a thing of the past. Despite the complete rebranding of the former Preview channel, pay-per-view-centric Sneak Preview carried on until April of 2002, at which time a proposed overhaul was scrapped due to, most likely, a certain sense of futility in a changing cable TV landscape. Anyway, during this time, TV Guide began heavily punctuating their schedules with reruns of soap operas and sitcoms. Between the rise of the user-dictated interactive program guide and TV Guide's own continual doubling down on reruns, 80s and 90s movies, gossip talk shows, and red carpet events, the electronic program guide ultimately rendered itself obsolete. By 2015, following a near-decade-long series of buyouts and corporate consolidations involving the Rovi Corporation, home of Macrovision, CBS, and Lionsgate, the TV Guide channel, turned TV Guide Network, turned TVGN, dropped any and all notion of the old-fashioned program guide and rebranded itself as Pop, a network devoted to the same stuff TV Guide had built up, but with new, dedicated programming. And the odd bit of wrestling. When researching this episode, I found something rather shocking. It seems that starting sometime in the late 2000s, early 2010s, some enthusiasts, some complete with engineering backgrounds, and clearly with too much time on their hands, began working on simulations of, and ultimately full-on emulations of, the old electronic program guide and preview guide setups. Like this one. No, really. Now, I actually attempted to use one of the Amiga-styled EPG simulators, and computer whiz kid that I am, I got no farther than setting the clock. Those that think or know they could do better would be well advised to seek out the surprisingly large amounts of homebrew and resurrected actual EPGs. Indeed, we welcome and await your recreations.
Chicago Cable wants to be more than just your cable company. And by donating funds for major pay-per-view events, we're able to help organizations who are making a difference. Organizations like the Better Boys Foundation. Chicago Cable is proud to assist the Better Boys Foundation in their endless endeavors to serve the youth of Chicago. It's all about giving something back. That's our goal. Chicago Cable TV. We are more than just your cable company.
Given the response to my finding these discs, I think I'd like to devote the rest of today's episode to just spotlighting some little nuggets from and quirks of these discs. It's archive, what do you expect? And these things haven't been seen really since they first aired, so I think it would be a nice way to dust these things back off. But first up, before we even start looking at these things, I want to take a look at the individual types of discs, because I found two different sorts. And the first type are these generically packaged things, and these are meant for specific cable providers. In this case, TCI Cablevision, which is, oddly enough, what we had here in beautiful downtown Aurora back then. And then there's this other kind, which has the sneak preview logo on it, and these are meant for just any participating provider. Now, the lower third of these discs, the video that is, are blocked out by a generic graphic, a blank space where you could fill in the time that something was airing and how much it cost and so on and so forth. I mention these because I'm going to do a lot of mixing and matching here, so I just want you to know why some of these are going to look the way they do. But anyway, one thing I found really odd about these discs, both types, is that there's no direct access of any sort. There is no frame by frame, they're both in CLV mode, and there's no chapter stops or anything either. And given the way these discs are constructed, you'd think you'd kind of want that.
Why go out when we bring it home for you? Watch for these home premieres. Make plans now for great in-home viewing. We're bringing it home for you. Why go out when we bring it home for you? Look what's coming.
And then there's the fact that, like the piped-in C-band stuff that the regular preview channel used, these discs sometimes used two separate audio channels at times. And when I say that, I mean it was to give the cable providers an option of two different voiceovers to use for specific promos, and sometimes just for them to strip the audio and use it for some other purpose. And sometimes the latter occurred in some pretty amusing places. But let's take a look at both occurrences.
The iOS are back, but their minds are on anything but score another win for their way toward a world championship. With the wackiest hockey team ever in D2, the Mighty Ducks.
If you haven't ordered a movie or an event on PrimeView, do it now. Hugh Grant stars in 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Blue Chips premieres with Nick Nolte. Or watch Brandon Lee's last movie, The Crow. Don't delay, pick up the phone call is free, and order the top hits on PrimeView.
One thing I found especially amusing about these discs are the just generic pay-per-view is so great ads that are just occasionally sprinkled about the discs. But add to that a certain desperation in some of the promos, and it's occasionally a somewhat schizophrenic viewing experience.
So you're thinking about going to the video store to rent a movie tonight. Well, it might be hot outside, or it could be raining, maybe a freezing rain, or a tornado. What if there's a blizzard, or a hurricane, a swarm of locusts, killer bees from Mexico?
Going to the matinee movie when you were a kid? And you got enough change back to buy the big box of candy?
The savings are back with the pay-per-view matinee movie special. Only $2.99 per movie during the day, up to and including 4 p.m. showings. That's over 25% off the regular price on movies like Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, jeez, what a day.
Oh, that line was worse.
Oh, hey, we forgot to return the video we rented last night.
Oh, you bring it back. You picked it out.
Only because I didn't have the one you want.
Yeah, but you still liked it.
No, I didn't. I hated it.
Well, I hated it more.
Well, yeah, okay, well, I returned that stupid
Get ready to scream when Action Pay-Per-View brings you 5 frightening flicks. $5.95. It's the Action Halloween Marathon. There are rules, gore, goblins, and more. Plus things that go bump in the night.
With pay-per-view, you never have to take anything back.
Why rent it? You've got it. Pay-per-view.
All of my discs date to the fall of 1994, and yeah, in case you haven't noticed yet, these things just ooze mid-90s. And I'm not just talking about the clothes and the music and the graphic design, but I'm talking about those oh-so-hip random green screen transitions and those just gloriously awkward, I've never operated a camera before in my life, sort of extreme zooms.
Mighty Ducks 2 will be showing soon, and you can see it without ever leaving your home.
4 Weddings and a Funeral is coming up soon. Here's how to see it at home. Ace Ventura is about to start. Order now. Here's how. 4 Weddings and a Funeral is about to start. Here's how to order. The tragic death of Brandon Lee almost prevented the release of his anxiously awaited breakthrough film, The Crow, but those connected with the project felt he would have wanted it to be seen. Here's a look at Brandon Lee's last film, The Crow.
Several years ago, Michael Cush directed the sleeper film Lena's Holiday starring Judge Reinhold. The film was a critical success and became a hit on home video and cable television. Now Cush is back with a follow-up, an action thriller with Kelly Preston and Patrick Bergen called Double Cross. Jeff Pollack, the creator of television's Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, was looking for a gritty urban action film to direct. He found it in the basketball film Above the Rim. This critically acclaimed movie stars Tupac Shakur and Dwayne Martin and will be showing soon at your house. Siren, starring Hugh Grant and Elle Macpherson, is about to start. Order now.
When I started wading through these discs, getting ready to make this episode, I saw a whole lot of what I expected, you know, mainstream movie spots and promos for boxing and wrestling matches and so on, but as I got farther and farther along, I started to find the odd bit of programming that just made me wonder, why was this on pay-per-view? And by the way, in this next montage, keep an eye out for a certain old VHS vault offender.
Join the life right along with us on the Easy Riders Marathon. You don't want to miss this party. An entire year of Easy Riders specials. Wind in your face freedom, iron horses, leather, crazy babes, tattoos, U.S. steel, rowdy rodeos, and more babes. Join the life riding, partying, and getting down with Easy Riders Marathon, only on pay-per-view.
The Bikers of Future Fights membership invite you to judge the most insane, deranged, non-stop underground fight action. It's the all-new interactive special event, Future Fights October, on pay-per-view, the only fighting event where you make the call.
According to the Warren Commission, this man killed John F. Kennedy. According to Jim Garrison,
Oswald was not involved in any way.
Pay-per-view presents the riveting story that began a controversy. Hear from eyewitnesses, see crucial evidence, then decide for yourself who killed JFK. The JFK Assassination, the Jim Garrison tapes.
This fall on Action Pay-Per-View, John Patrick gives you his winning picks on selected pro games every weekend throughout the football season.
You don't have to look at the papers from now on and see what somebody else picks. You learn how to do it yourself.
America's foremost gambling expert gives you the answers you need to know.
How do you pick winners? How do you beat the house? We'll show you how.
If you watch How to Handicap Pro Football, you won't want to miss this weekly series, John Patrick's Pro Football Picks, playing this fall on Action Pay-Per-View.
Anybody that's watched the archive long enough knows that, generally speaking, probably through the 90s, men were usually the ones to be the early adopters of new media and technology and so forth. And as you could well imagine, those looking to make a quick buck off this new stuff would target the average male and his libido. So I think you see where I'm going with this. As you could well expect, I found no shortage of adult-themed stuff on these discs. So, ladies and gentlemen, but mostly gentlemen, I think we're about due for another round of Oddity Archive After Dark. Sorry, ladies.
I'm Marilyn Chambers. Watch me in my hot new film, Marilyn Chambers' New York Nights.
Fall brings a brand new Hot Body Video Magazine special. Feature models Heidi Lynn and Stephanie Summers preview their private Halloween costumes. Plus, meet amateurs Malika, Mandy, Tony Marie, and Michelle Alexa. For fashion, we recommend Spun Honey, a sensuous and revealing line. Street Scene offers an encore from Jessica with her biggest turn-on, then CoverGirl Gina Page buffs her hot rod in preparation for the harsh winter. It's only on pay-per-view, the Hot Body Video Magazine Fall Special 94.
You want to see something really sexy?
Backed by popular demand on pay-per-view.
I mean really sexy.
LaToya Jackson's Exotic Club Tours.
That's right, we're not fooling around anymore.
Europe, Texas, Hawaii, Florida. 4 days of sexy fun LaToya style.
And it's only on pay-per-view.
LaToya Jackson's Exotic Club Tour Marathon.
This is hot stuff.
Are you ready for the wildest, wettest, sexiest contest ever shown on television? Hi, I'm Barbie Benton, and you're invited to join me as I present the World Wet T-Shirt Finals. It's the wettest event of its kind, as 14 of the most incredible women get absolutely soaked trying to win this spectacular contest. Come spend the night with me, only on pay-per-view.
Coming soon to Oddity Archive. Sometimes I really wish I had a cameraman and a better camera. Anyway, coming soon to Oddity Archive. Emilio Estevez and Tupac Shaker star in that great family-friendly comedy hit, A2, Above the Mighty Rim. Assuming we can clear the rights. Personally, I wouldn't hold my breath.
Hated it.
Well, I hated it more.
Well, yeah, okay, well, I returned that stupid movie.
Halloween is really a special time, isn't it? Especially for me. You can see why if you know who I am. Look up a little. That's me, a jack-o'-lantern. At Halloween time every year, I sit up here and watch everybody go by. It's a nice and scary time, isn't it? All those wonderful costumes and masks and makeup. I think about how much fun Halloween is. I also worry a little bit about the things that can spoil the fun of Halloween. Those kinds of things scare me too, but in a different way. For instance, look next door. That's where Corey lives.
Corey, have you got that pumpkin ready yet?
Corey's going to carve a pumpkin with her dad.
Weighs 50 pounds.
That's a big one. It probably weighs close to that.
Probably.
Come on here and set it down.
Okay.
Let me get the paper straightened out.
How's that?
That's fine. Have you decided what kind of face you're going to make on it yet?
A happy face.
I'll do that.
Now, a pumpkin's not easy to carve. I know that. You need the proper tools. But first you have to draw a face that you can carve. Corey's doing that.
That's a nice pumpkin face.
Thank you.
Let's see if we can cut the top off now.
Then you cut the top off so you can scoop out the insides. It takes a sharp knife. And you know, sharp knives can be dangerous if they're not used right. I'm glad that Corey's father is helping her. It's much safer that way.
Eager to get inside?
Yeah.
Go ahead and pull that off.
Ew, look.
You ever seen the inside of a pumpkin before?
Yeah. Not that way.
Okay, now comes the fun part. Gotta start cleaning it out.
Getting my inside scooped out tickles me. It'd tickle you too, if you were a pumpkin. So far it's been fun. But look at Corey's hand. Kinda gooey, isn't it? Corey is going to carve the face with a small knife. Can you imagine how that knife could slip and maybe cut her? I hope Corey will do the safe thing. Good, that's a lot better. A clean, dry hand can hold a knife safely, and cut with it safely too. Cut slowly, carefully, in small slices, and always cut away from yourself.
Thank you.
Make sure there's an adult, or someone a lot older than you, who can help you if you need help. That's the safe way to carve a pumpkin. I'm glad Corey isn't going to spoil her Halloween fun. Carve carefully. That's one way to have a Halloween that's fun and safe. But what about having a candle burning inside your pumpkin? Well, I'm sitting on brick. But a candle and a pumpkin on a wooden porch might not be safe at all. A flashlight could be a lot safer then. But it's best to stay away from lighted candles that are inside or outside of jack-o'-lanterns. You know why. Well, not everybody carves a pumpkin on Halloween, but just about everybody does dress up in a costume. For instance, look across the street there. Do you see what I see? That robot is Jeremy in his costume.
Oh, Jessica, it's you. How do you like my costume? You look great.
Well, it may look great from the outside, but from the inside, things don't look very good at all. Jeremy can't see very well with his robot head on, and I don't think the rest of his costume lets him walk very well. He can't bend his knees.
How are you going to walk in that? I don't know.
It's hard for Jeremy to keep his balance. If Jeremy went out like that, he might keep losing his balance all the time. He might fall down just anywhere, and probably everywhere. Sidewalks hurt you when you fall on them, and so do streets. And streets are especially dangerous to fall down on. Jeremy has to be able to walk better if he doesn't want to spoil his Halloween fun. There, that's better. A costume shouldn't make you trip or fall. That's not safe. It should be easy for you to move in your costume. And you have to be able to see where you're going.
Look, Jessica.
A mask that makes it hard to see could get you into all kinds of trouble. There, that's much better. Jeremy can see well now and move safely in his costume too.
Now I'm going to try my
Oh, but look at Jessica. She can't see much with her mask on.
It's too big for me.
A monster needs an ugly face. But does it have to be a mask? Makeup can be just as good, and it's always just the right size for you. Just don't get it in your eyes.
Okay. Get another one.
If you're not too good at putting on makeup, get an adult to help you. Make sure your mask and costume let you see well and walk well, and they won't spoil your fun on Halloween. Of course, the reason you get all dressed up at Halloween is so you can have fun going trick-or-treating. And I like to see all the children out in their costumes. But when I see them, I always hope they don't forget all they know about crossing streets safely. And I hope you don't either. That's especially important when drivers can't see you well. And for you to see the cars well, it's a good idea to take off your mask when you cross. Even though it may not be night yet, it's dark enough to make things outdoors hard to see, you and the cars. It makes me so happy when I see children look to their left for cars, then right for cars, then left again before they cross. You mustn't forget all the safety rules you know on Halloween, and especially because it's dark. It's safest not to cross between parked cars. That can be very dangerous. And don't cut across yards or empty lots. When it's dark, you can't see what's there. Remembering safety rules is very important on Halloween. There's something else that can help keep you safe outside when it's dark. You'll see right away. Yes, just as I thought. They're coming up my walk now. The people who live in my house like to take pictures of the children who come by.
Okay, we're going to take a picture for a treat, too. Everybody smile.
Now you'll see what there is about their costumes that makes it easier for drivers to see them when it's dark. Do you see how easy it is to see the bright colors in the costumes? Bright colors are easier to see at night than dark colors are. But there's something else. Some parts seem to glow from the camera flash. That's how those parts will look when car headlights shine on them. Those are just pieces of special tape that reflect light very well. You can put tape like that on your costume and on your trick-or-treat bag. Some costumes already have reflecting material on them. Making your costume and your bag easy to see makes you easy to see. And that's a good way to help make Halloween safe. The safer Halloween is, the more fun it is, for you and for me. That's what I think. But some people have a strange idea of fun. They think it's fun to mess up other people's things with paint. They don't think about how the people feel whose things are ruined. And some people think it's fun to throw things at cars and houses and buildings. But the people whose things they're messing up don't. I don't either. It isn't fun to spoil other people's things and make them unhappy. Some people even think it's fun to smash pumpkins. Oh no, that's not fun. Not for all the people who work so hard carving pumpkins, and especially not for us pumpkins. Whew, wow, that was close. Some people don't know what fun really is. I do, and I'll bet you do too. And I know they do. Trick-or-treating is always fun. But there are some things you should remember to help keep it fun. One thing is to always go out with friends. And have an adult come along, too. Don't ever trick-or-treat alone. And if someone you don't know very well invite you in.
Look, tonight. Would you like to come in? I have more treats inside.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
That's right. Say, no thanks. And don't eat the treats while you're collecting them. Stay in your own neighborhood. Don't get too far from home. Don't worry, you'll collect enough treats. People are expecting you. And even if you don't stop at houses with no outside lights on, which you shouldn't, you'll have a wonderful time at Halloween. Some of you will probably still be out when it's really dark. That's when flashlights are an especially good idea, to help you watch out for places you might fall or stumble over if you didn't see them. But remember, don't shine those flashlights into anybody's eyes, especially a driver's eyes. That could be dangerous. It isn't hard to have a safe Halloween. Just look how easy it is to see those children when they cross. They wouldn't want an accident to spoil their Halloween fun. I wouldn't want that to happen either. Trick-or-treating is almost over this Halloween for Corey and Jessica and Jeremy. It's almost time for them to head for home. But what do you do with all the treats you've collected? A lot of them are things to eat, of course. But you don't eat them all, at least not right away, that's for sure. And there might be some you won't want to eat at all. Get a grown-up to help you decide, or at least someone a lot older than you. You see, some people think it's fun to play tricks with your treats. Watch out for candy wrappers that have been torn or punctured. That might be a sign of tampering. There might be things in the candy, so break open candy bars before you eat them. Cut fruit into pieces before you eat it, just in case something's been stuck in it. Watch out for things that look like candy, but might be medicines or drugs, or even poisons. Don't eat anything that doesn't look right. If it looks funny, it might not be so funny if you ate it. Treats are so much fun to collect. It'd be awful to have them spoil your Halloween fun by making you sick. Corey's treats won't make her sick, and I hope yours won't make you sick either. I hope you can have the most fun you've ever had this Halloween. Halloween can be a scary time, not because of witches or ghosts that we know aren't real, but because of real things that can spoil our fun. Just remember these few important things I've told you about. Carve your pumpkin carefully. Make sure that you can see. And make sure people can see you. Remember all your safety rules, and take off your mask when you cross a street.
Trick-or-treat!
Trick-or-treat in your own neighborhood, and don't keep any treats that don't look right. If you can do all that, then you won't have to worry about scary, real things happening on Halloween, right? Right. Have a fun and a safe Halloween.
Oh, excuse me, Ricky. Ricky, I did see what you were doing. It felt good, didn't it? It's all right. We all have feelings like this sometimes. I'm just glad you're doing this in the privacy of your own room. When you're a little bit older, we'll have to talk more about these feelings and what causes them and how we can control these feelings. I'm sorry I intruded on your privacy. I'll be sure to knock next time, okay?
This manner of response frees the child of guilt and assures him he is normal. It opens communication between parent and child and introduces the concept of responsibility for his behavior.
Have you ever wanted to buy Girl Scout cookies, but, you know, you can't find any Girl Scouts near you? Well, guess what? We've got Girl Scout cookies here right in Jupiter. We've got Trefoil, we've got Tagalog, we've got Samoas, we've got Savannah Smiles, we've got Tostitos, we've got Thin Mints, our most popular flavor. Hurry up before these all sell out. Girl Scout cookies are $4. We're also in partnership with Zimi Products and UFO Productions to bring you this awesome content. Come on, get to Florida, 33458. Get your Girl Scout cookies. $4. I'll see you there.
Isn't it such a hard work being a janitor? Well, I present to you new janitorial broom to take the heartache off of janitor stuff. Now, you see all these leaves over here? With just one quick swipe of the janitor broom, they are gone. As you can see, they're all gone. Now, you should buy it today. Call or go online at lifesportsystems.com or call 111.111.1111.
Please, think of the Pokemon.
This is UFO TV, WJBS Jupiter. This station is licensed under the Astoria Broadcast Commission as a Class A broadcaster. We are also licensed by the FCC. Our offices are located in Jupiter, Florida, with transmitters located in the UFO Productions headquarters. We are owned and operated by UFO Industries, which is a company owned by the Astorian government. All station programming is taped, aired live, or originates from a television or radio network other than UFO TV. This station's programming is for personal use only and may not be used by any business to generate a profit. If you would like to contact us, please email this address, wjbsufotv@gmail.com. We now sign off. Good night.